Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of the more recognizable Egyptian figures. That's going to be King Tut. We're going to talk about his tomb here in just a moment. Let's just backtrack and figure out who he is. He is the son of Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh who will move the capital in the Amarna period of time. He's going to believe in monotheism, believing that Aten is the sole god. That's King Tut's dad. Now, because King Tut's dad is so kind of out there, they really try to erase him from history. They almost tried doing the same thing with King Tut. In fact, as Pharaoh, King Tut doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. He is going to bring the capital back to, I believe it's Thebes. Check me on that one. He is going to say, you can worship whoever again. There's claims where King Tut is in some sort of conflicts based off of what they find in his tomb. Now, speaking of King Tut and his tomb, King Tut's known as the Boy King. He's going to gain control of Egypt at about the age of 10, rule for about 10 years. His death, by the way, like many people in the 18th dynasty, is a little bit mysterious. Some people claim that he gets clubbed in the back of the head, and that's how he dies. There's a pretty strong theory that he will break his leg, contract malaria, and pass away, which I would say is probably the leading theory on that. His tomb. Either way of how he dies pretty suddenly. Most pharaohs have, about a 90-day-ish period of time before their bodies dried and the mummification and this whole process, and then they're set in their tomb. Well, between the fact that King Tut and his dad are not, well, his dad especially is not well liked, they kind of rush his tomb. In fact, his sarcophagus is way too small. Some people think that it was actually made for a girl, potentially Nefertiti, or potentially King Tut's mom. King Tut's mom, by the way, is known as the Elder Lady. That is proven true scientifically. Her remains were found in King Tut's tomb. Now, one of the reasons that King Tut is so famous is because his tomb was never raided, and in 1922, Howard Carter finds it perfectly intact. Some of that might be because King Tut wasn't really that well liked. Again, most of that comes from his dad, so people might not have raided his tomb. His tomb also gets somewhat hidden in the Valley of the Kings, partly again because I don't think people really cared to venture in it. In King Tut's tomb, though, you can see they still got a lot of fancy pictures on the wall. In fact, in the middle there is King Tut with his wife. You find a ton of really cool artifacts. I highly recommend looking into the artifacts. There's games, there's chairs, his throne, his sarcophagus, the royal death mask of King Tut, which is one of the most recognized. It's on like half the textbooks ever. I know I taught it was on one of the textbooks. What I do want to say about this, because I'm usually running out of time, is this is what they did for a pharaoh that wasn't even that well liked. Look up Seti the First, his tomb. It's fantastic. Look up the Valley of the Kings, but it's just some brief King Tut info that I really like. I think it's part of Egyptian history. Is fascinating. 18th dynasty, look into it. But anyways, hope you learned something for always. Love you all.